In the small town of Clearwater, the atmosphere was thick with tension as the trial of Timothy Hargrove approached. Timothy was a kind-hearted man with a gentle demeanor who had been accused of a heinous crime that he did not commit. Despite his protests of innocence, the evidence against him was overwhelming, and the judge sentenced him to death by electrocution. On the day of the execution, Timothy was escorted to the electric chair, his hands and feet bound tightly. The hood was placed over his head, and the switch was flipped. As the electricity surged through his body, Timothy's muscles tensed, and he let out a blood-curdling scream. The witnesses in the room gasped as they watched the innocent man's body convulse, and then suddenly, he was still. But that wasn't the end of Timothy's story. As the prison was being closed for the night, the guards on duty heard strange noises coming from the execution chamber. It sounded like someone was moaning and whimpering in pain. At first, they thought it was just the machinery malfunctioning, but as they got closer, the noises became more distinct, and they realized it was coming from Timothy's body. As they peered through the small window in the door, they were horrified to see that Timothy's eyes had opened, and his body was twitching. They quickly called for backup, and when the other guards arrived, they saw the same thing. Timothy's body was still alive, despite having been executed hours earlier. As they rushed to try and revive him, the guards were struck with terror as they realized that something was very wrong. Timothy's skin had turned a sickly shade of gray, and his eyes had a demonic glint to them. As they tried to resuscitate him, they felt an overwhelming sense of dread and terror, as if something was watching them from inside Timothy's body. Suddenly, Timothy's body jolted to life, and his eyes flashed with an otherworldly light. The guards tried to restrain him, but he broke free from their grasp with an inhuman strength and lunged at them, his mouth twisted in a snarl. The guards tried to fight back, but it was no use. Timothy was no longer the innocent man they had executed. He was something else entirely, a vessel for a malevolent force that had been unleashed by the wrongful execution. The small town of Clearwater would never be the same again, as they grappled with the horrifying truth that they had made a grave mistake. And the consequences would be more terrifying than they ever could have imagined.